Hi, everybody at Innovative Business Networkers. This is Meet Me Thursday, and today's guest is Steve Vesey. Steve, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's been a remarkable summer so far, even though we're all dealing with the COVID. I think of June, the month of June, when my wife had her winter jacket on most of the month. So it's good.
Excellent, excellent. Always a pleasure. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we'll get into what you're doing these days with your business.
Sure. I am a retired CPA. I started my own firm about 40 years ago, and we built that up to a 10-person firm. And I was enough to have a partner that I brought in, and she was interested. And that's sort of unusual in these personal companies. So I'm very happy to have that. And it went great. And I'm in my fourth year of having sold it. Along the way, I was also a certified business consultant, which put me in a position to deal with the baby boomer business owners, helping them get out of the business. And at the same time, for the prior 25 years, I was what's called a certified analyst. So I have the accounting background, but I have business valuation and business transaction background. And so that sort of laid itself into what I'm doing these days. I partnered with an old dear friend of mine, Rick McDonald, and we formed a company called Exit the Family Business. We're located at 152 Conan Street in Beverly. And what we do is we work with the baby boomer business owners, and there's a bunch of them out there, and we help them get to the finish line.
So you're coming. Is that something that, as you were going through your CPA business, that you became more and more interested in, or how did you get into that area of business?
Well, I was sort of force-fed it, because as my practice matured, more and more of my businesses were maturing, and I had clients who just assumed I would be the one to walk them through the process of selling their business. So that made me go out and become a valuation expert. That made me go out and become a transition expert. So to meet the needs of my clients, because what happens also is that the smaller businesses, we really serve. My practice is based on businesses from 3 million to 10 million. That's called the lower middle market. And these type of entrepreneurs are terribly underserved when it comes to getting out of the business, because quite frankly, there's not enough money available for the high-end mergers and acquisition companies to get involved, and they're just a little bit too big for the average business broker. So there was a gap there, and we recognized that gap, and that's how we spend our days working with these people. And we have a process we go through, and I'm really, 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 I'm very happy in retirement. I have a nice thing to do.
And what would you say makes the service offering that you have unique compared to other people in the space?
I think what makes it unique is my background. I actually sold a business. I sold my own business. I went through the whole process. I went through the planning process. Once Susan and I decided to do a deal, we spent 3 years preparing for it. And by that I mean once a month we would meet with an advisor that would prepare me between my ears to help me get out, and help Susan get ready to get in. And if the small business owners are listening to this, the average small business owners use their business as almost like another child. They started it, they've raised it, it's matured, and walking away from the business, it's a lot about the emotional aspect of it as it is the financial aspect of it. The second thing that makes this really special is that, because I've been around, I recognize the fact that most businesses, we talk about taking a ride from Saugus up to Salisbury, and all these manufacturers along Route 1. Most of these business owners have fine businesses, and they provided them a fine lifestyle, a wonderful lifestyle. They work hard, they're being rewarded for their work. But it doesn't mean the businesses can be sold. And what we do is we help them take that lifestyle business and prepare it for an eventual exit for the owner.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the process that you go through to get a
Sure.
business going?
So what makes us different is we just don't talk it. We really get involved in this. And what we did is we hired a digital marketing company to do promotions for us. And in the last 8 months, we've had 300 businesses respond to this. And by that, I mean, we have you start talking about exit planning and business owners. All these businesses are all the same thing. There's a 6-step and 8-step process. But what differentiates us is we have something very special in that we have created what's called the 7 pillars of value creation. Value creation is a huge issue today because the average small business owner, even though they have a fine business, there's a gap between what they need to sell it for, and what it's actually worth. So we start with a survey, and the survey is 47 questions about your business and this and that. And what that does, that gives us a profile of your business. And we fit that profile into what we call our 7 pillars of valuation. The basic concept of this whole thing is surrounded by values of a company, values of a closely held business, of a lower middle market company. It's simply put, it's some multiple times your EBITDA. And EBITDA is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, or another way of putting it, it's the discretionary income that a business owner has available to him by working in his business. And what we do, our 7 pillars of value creation, is that by the time somebody gets to the point they want to sell their business, they're 68, 70, 72 years old, they're tired. And there are companies out there that do valuation building, but they come back with a 27 and a 30 and a 35-step process. Well, the average small business owner at 68 years old just doesn't want to go through that. We have 7 steps that a business owner can take to build his business by increasing the multiple. And there are things that every business owner can do. And we believe that if we can have a year with somebody, we can get their multiple increased by 1.5 to maybe 2 times. And by that, I mean, if we take a look at the 300 people that have responded to our survey, the average multiple, the multiple that their responses have given rise to, is 3.2 to 3.4%. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you have a business with $1 million in EBITDA. Well, that means your business is worth 3.2 to 3.4 million. After closing costs, after taxes, that's less than $2 million. And if you're used to living on $400,000 or $500,000 a year, it's not going to cut it.
Right.
So what we have to do, we have to fill that gap. And how do you fill it? Well, maybe it's too late in the game to really increase the business by sales or increase the EBITDA. But the way you can do it is go back to your business practices, how you run your business, and there's things that everybody can do that we can show them that how you can increase your multiple. And the proof of the pudding in the eating, so to speak, is that we're working with M&A companies now that we actually are part of the process. And for right now, we're actively marketing a metal plating company on the North Shore, and we have been part of the site visits with 3 of the businesses that have some synergy, and they're looking to maybe acquire this company. And the things they're concerned about, listening to the questions they're asking the owner and the general manager, are fit perfectly into our 7 pillars of value creation. And it's so simple, it's remarkable, but it works. And that's what's needed, because you can't overwhelm a 68 to 70-year-old guy who's just taken it on the chin with the COVID and the fact that his banker wasn't responsive to him when he's trying to get the disaster loans or the PPP loans.
Excellent information. I mean, I know as a business owner myself, I'm nowhere near retirement, but if you put a 35-step process in front of me to do anything, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
So being able
Exactly.
to simplify it like that for business owners is fantastic. So I know you mentioned a bit about the digital marketing company that you guys have sort of used. So what would you say, is that the main way that you're generating leads? And a follow-up to that is, throughout the last couple of months, I know you said you've generated, I think it was 300 or so clients. How has the market been? Have things been through COVID? How's business been throughout the last few months?
Sure. So to answer the second piece of this quickly, it is a reset. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the majority of businesses have taken it on the chin. There are some businesses that are still fine. They were, deemed to be, necessary. The manufacturing end of things with people who do medical devices, they haven't missed a beat. The only thing that happened to them is they couldn't get the employees to show up for work. But anybody who services those companies, there's value there. But what we've told people is that let's roll back. Where did you look at 2019? That's our benchmark, and that's been a thinking that most businesses are jumping on, is that they want the valuation. Give me an evaluation of 2019. I know that's real, and I'm going to get back to where I was. And like anything else in life and in business, you have to look at opportunities. And my partner and I are seeing this really bad situation for so many people with the COVID, and business owners in general, is that we're not going to just bounce back. We want to bounce forward. And by that I mean, it gives business owners who are in this area of life, their business cycle, so to speak, that they're looking to get out, take the opportunity, take this chance to reset things and do things the way they need to be done, rather than the way you've always done them. Because again, the small business owner has just, you take the small business owner, they got a couple of Escalades in the driveway, they got properties up on Lake Winnipesaukee, they have the $1 million home, and they have less than a couple $100,000 in retirement. And they need the proceeds from the sale of their business to live the life they want to live. So that's really what's driving this whole thing. So we're taking the opportunity to help people reset this thing, give them some really basic ideas, these 7 ideas of what has to happen. And if I have enough time, I'd just like to just go right through them real quickly.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great. So there's 7 things you need to do and basically a lot of these are just good business practices that maybe a lot of people get away from, but some of them are very specific to trying to get out of business. What acquiring companies want to know, that if they buy your business on Friday, the business is still there on Monday. And what's the key thing, the number one thing that acquiring companies, synergistic buyers are looking for is recurring revenue. You have to have recurring revenue. And that's something that even if you don't, you can start working on that and enhance that. The second thing is, you can't have the owner of the company in charge of everything. And think of the typical small businessman. He's got his hands on everything. He's in there on Sundays making sure things are the way they're supposed to be. There you go. But you need to be operationally relevant. We have to be in a position where your flow chart of people who report to who, you can't have everybody reporting to you. You have to have some good qualified people a notch below you, or even you step aside and turn it over to a son or a general manager or somebody that they're now running the business. They've created their own team and things flow through them. The third thing you have to have standard operating procedures. It sounds simple enough, but you'd be surprised. I mean, I had a situation once where, this company was ISO certified, so you figure they have all the books and all the manuals put together. What they didn't have were procedures for the office workers. And in many small offices where you get 3 or 4 different personalities floating around, they don't get along, they don't talk to each other. And finally, I said to them, what happens if somebody has to call in payroll and Gladys isn't in today? Well, we sort of, no, you can write it down. You have to have these things written down. The other thing is, the other major thing is that we're dealing with this right now with the company that we have the interested parties in, is that the owner has stepped aside for health reasons. His son is running the business. And the son runs the business very, very well. They need to know that he's going to stick around. And so what the owner of the business is willing to do is put a carrot out there that if the son stays on for 3 years, because there's going to be an earn-out part of this thing, he's there to be sure to watch the shop for him and watch the earn-out, that he'll get a bonus from the owner at the end of the day. So we need what's called stay bonuses. And again, going back to the operational relevancy, is that you can't be everything. You need a deep bench. And, sometimes easier said than done for these 3 and 4, person businesses, okay. But, you get 10, 12, 15 people, 20 people in an organization. There has to be a delineation of these responsibilities, and the people have to be rewarded for what they do, enhanced for what they do. And that's just, you have to have people to step in. The last 2 things, and this is where the digital marketing piece comes in, is in today's world, you need to automate your sales and customer service. Along the way, we constantly see these clubs, the Harry Shave Club or this or that, and this is that you do something and you automatically get the service every 3 or 4 months. You automatically have the sales generated every 3 or 4 months. I have a service for my HVAC stuff at home. I pay X number of dollars every 6 months. They're either coming in and they're servicing the heating side of it, they're serving the air conditioning side of it, and that allows me to say, okay, I'm feeling pretty good right now because my automated sales people came in, they're taking care of my heating and cooling needs. So that type of thing is what we really want to have people do. And this is where the digital marketing comes in, which directs them into the landing pages, into the funnels, and they can direct them into automated sales. And it's really, with the use of credit cards, we have a company right now that's done very well with hospital scrubs, where they set up scrub clubs at the hospital, payroll deductions for the nurses, and it works magnificently. The last piece of this thing is something called margin management. And what I may have mentioned earlier is that a lot of businesses, they've been really busy. Leading up to 2019 into 2020, things may have gotten away from a lot of businesses. Just get it out the door, we're billing it, we're making money. But all of a sudden, the margins may have started hemorrhaging a little bit. And we have to go back, cost out everything, price out everything. And it was a company I was working with last year that they hadn't changed their labor rate forever because they were busy and they were making money. But along the way, wages, benefits, insurances all went up, and they needed to increase their rate by $9 or $10 an hour just to keep up with things. And they hadn't done it because they weren't paying attention. And the other thing is this, and God bless the CPAs out there, because they're fighting an uphill battle, because the proliferation of accounting software that allows the average business owner to do a pretty good job running his business on his own with just an accountant is eliminating the need for a CPA. And it doesn't, because they think it's doing. But so you've got to get back to your margins. You've got to watch what you're doing, and the whole thing. You watch the dimes and the dollars take care of themselves. But if you can do these 7 things, we can show you that we can take that 3.2 or 3.4 and at least get it to 5. And again, what we're talking about in the example I gave earlier, this $3.2 million business is now $5 million, and maybe by increasing margins, we throw another $100,000 or $200,000 onto the EBITDA. So now it's a $6 million company with 3.2 to 3.4, just by paying attention and do what you need to do. And it's something that every business owner needs to think about, because they don't want to. This is your last deal, and you can't leave money on the table.
That's great, Steve. There's definitely some things you mentioned in there that I need to start paying attention to, and getting things in order as I'm building the business. So I want to switch to some more personal questions. You've been in business a long time. You've been a business owner a long time. What would you say is the biggest attribute that brought you success?
the biggest attribute that brought me success was, and Don will go, oh, poor me, but I grew up with nothing. You know, my parents, a lot of love in the house, but, you know, we didn't have a lot. And I grew up humble. And one of the big things to me was my grandfather owned a business. It was a metal plating business, and I spent my summers in that factory up there. This is back in the 60s before OSHA. These are the worst years of my life, and I knew I didn't want to do this. So you know, I went to school, and yes, I went to school in the 60s, so okay, I had a lot of fun, but I worked hard. And I sort of fell into the accounting thing because I started doing income taxes for a local CPA in my last year of college because I needed the money. And I realized that I could do this. One of the things that made me successful is, I joke about this all the time, is I peaked as an athlete as a 12-year-old. I never get it. I was pretty good. But being able to compete in sports as like a 12-year-old, I played men's softball until my mid-50s. So by playing in all these softball leagues, I met business owners who loved the fact that the CPAs actually, you know, can trace down a fly ball in the outfield, but also they're a regular guy and I can talk to them. So I think what helped me get where I was is that I recognize the fact that the small business owner, the entrepreneur, I love these guys. I love what they're all about. I love the risks they're taking. I love the fact that they're working so hard for their families, and I appreciate that. And that helped me, that appreciation of these guys, knowing where they came from, knowing where I came from, made me work really hard for them. And you know, I joke about it. I wanted me as my accountant. You know, I think I worked really hard for people, looked out for them. You know, along the way, we've had some pretty good arguments with clients because, you know, you can't do this. You know, don't talk to me that way. You're paying me to say, you're not paying me to tell you you're doing a good job. You're paying me to tell you no, and here's why. And I've been very, very lucky. And I'm a firm believer also in that, you know, hard work is only half of it. Luck has a lot to do with it as well. Right place, right time.
So if someone was starting out today in business, any business, not necessarily yours, what's the one piece of advice you would give them?
The piece of advice I would give them would be to have a process. No matter what you're doing, have a process in what you're doing and refine that and always stick to the process. And the other thing I would say to people would be, if you're doing something and it's not working, stop it. Please, stop it. It's not going to get any better. Stop doing this and try something else. But if you have a process and you stick to it, and therefore you have the discipline to stay with that. And then the third thing is, you know, small business owners when they're starting out, we're not, you know, going to say anything to get us in trouble with the IRS here, but everybody does things they probably shouldn't be doing because they need the money. Well, you get to the point that, okay, look, you got to start doing this right. And here's why. And as your business grows, your financing grows, your financial statements have to be presented to the bank. You know, you need to have good, solid numbers. You need to have a good team in place. But again, I'll just go back to, you have a process, stay with it, refine it, and stick with it. Unless it's not working.
Right. Yeah, I'll definitely make a note of that. That's a great answer. That I love. Stop it. It doesn't get more clear than that.
Right. Yeah.
So if you had unlimited resources, and you can answer this from a business point of view or from a personal point of view, if you had unlimited resources, money was no object, and you could do anything at all that you wanted to do, what would it be?
Play second base for the Red Sox.
Excellent.
That would be, you know, that's the dream position. But as far as my job and this and that, and my family, nobody wants to hear this, but I'm truly blessed. I've got a great family. My wife is an outstanding person. All our kids live locally, which means we get to see our grandkids. You know, we have a house that we're very proud of. We live in the Danvers River. It's a great place to live. I wouldn't do much of anything different. I'm very lucky along that way. As my doctor said to me, I wish you'd changed the oil and rotated the tires along the way. You know, I had my heart issues and I had some cancer issues, and yeah, I think I heard the term the other day. I'm a little bit beefy. So maybe I should have taken a little bit better care of myself. But you know, we joke about it now. My wife and I are big concert people, where we spend a lot of money every year going to concerts. We love them. We missed them this year. But no, I'm very lucky, and I recognize that, and I want to help people get through the process of owning their business, get to the finish line, and have the life they deserve.
All right. Well, I end every session with the same question. It's my favorite one that I ask, and I also love it when other people ask in interviews. Steve Vesey, what is your superpower?
I don't take myself too seriously. I'm a regular guy who happened to be in a position where things have worked out for me, but I don't take myself too seriously. I'm not afraid to say what the heck, maybe in more flowery language, and I think I recognize that success in life is as much about good luck as it is hard work.
All right. Well, Steve, that is pretty much the end of the interview. If you want to just take a minute and let people know how they can find you and your business.
Sure. As I said, my business is located at 152 Conan Street in Beverly. The business is called The Family Business. I can be reached on the website at steve@exitthefamilybusiness. It's all one word, no spaces. And I can reach on the IBN website. And also, probably the best number to get in touch with me, because I'm out of the office more than I'm in, is my cell phone. I need to get another phone because my phone doesn't always ring. But call me and I will get back to you. 978-766-9838. That's 978-766-9838. And George, thank you for this opportunity to do this. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Steve. I know we've been in IBN together for a number of years, and I've been able to pick your brain a number of times on different topics, and I really thank you a lot for all the knowledge that you've brought to the group, both myself personally and the group. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be on today.
Okay, buddy. Thank you. See you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.